Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Bellator fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting some of the key fights for Bellator 260, Lima versus Amasov. So without further ado, let's get to the first fight that I'll be predicting. So the first fight that I'll be predicting is in the featherweight division, Claxton versus Justin Gonzalez. So Gonzalez is coming in here, pretty impressive amateur record, impressive career. Is a pro so far. Nothing outstanding, nothing spectacular or anything yet, but a young budding career and without any blemishes is a yet. Like definitely taking the right path and definitely showing some good skills, but flat out I'm not super impressed with anything he has done yet. Like shown good overall skills, but I think Claxton has shown a little bit more to me, to be honest. As Gonzalez has more fights, more wins, no losses, but Claxton clearly has much better wrestling than Gonzalez. Gonzalez has a bit of a finishing issue to an extent when fighting decent competition. And I think Claxton not gonna have too much issue with anything as far as wrestling or submission grappling from Gonzalez. So I feel like Claxton can definitely explode more, definitely look for the takedowns more, and commit to them more without worrying necessarily about a submission threat, and should be able to put some rounds down off control time against Gonzalez. I still say it being a tight matchup. I think Gonzalez going to make it a fight wherever this goes. But I still be seeing Claxton be able to, like I said, commit more to the takedowns, commit more to the control time, and be able to pile up on control time early. Then maybe late, Gonzalez starts to rally a bit, but not having the power or the time to really put much together to get the finish and just really fall down, losing the first two rounds, like fall 2 rounds behind in a 3-round fight, and being able to win the third round and lose a decision to Claxton. So in this one, I got Claxton via decision. Now on to our next fight, we have in the welterweight division, Crutchmer versus Levan Chokeheli, or Chokeheli, yeah, that's what I'm gonna call him. But this fight, flat out I'm leaning to Crutchmer, but Crutchmer definitely, I feel, it seems like he's going on the path where he's forgetting he's a wrestler or he's falling in love with striking. And in his last fight, it was a case of he shot one takedown and didn't shoot none no more. He shot at the very end of the first round, maybe because he's scared of getting caught in a choke or still scared of submission grappling, even though he's been training with, Khabib and all these other people, top level fighters for, I would say at least over 2-3 years now. Extensively, at least with like top level UFC caliber fighters and top caliber fighters in general MMA and probably even outside of MMA, and still has that wrestler fear of submission choke. A lot of these wrestlers come in there scared, so scared of guillotines and submissions that as soon as the submission locks up, they just don't want to go to the ground no more. When in reality, the opponent when he got that blast double and is completely secured the takedown and was already in half control. I mean, yeah, I said half control and side control. That guillotine had no effect from that position. So why even give a position like he could have secure the position, even threaten with a Von Flu? And I know it was a quick transition, but he could have definitely stayed in that position, secured the position. And I mean, it also was at the end of the round with like 30, 20 seconds left. What's going to happen in that 20 seconds, especially you secure position and from side control, the opponent can't really do nothing. Even if you give him 5 minutes, unless you just got a weak neck or something, or you pass out easily or something from squeezes, they can't do nothing with you in that position when they got a guillotine and you're in full side, like this flat out side control and top position. So I don't know, it's concerning to me. And then the rest of the fight, yes, the striking looked all right for where he's at right now, but it's by far nothing to write home about. So his wrestling is his bread and butter, and that's what he should stick to. And I feel like against Levan Chokeheli, he is again the better wrestler, and Chokeheli is going to be, I would say, indeed the better striker. So take this fight to the ground. Don't try to strike with Chokeheli. You're going to probably get diced up on the feet. But if you mix some power shots with explosive takedowns and secure the control and not as hesitant to shoot for whatever reason, whether it be cardio or fear of being submitted or fear of, anything grappling, then this fight he's gonna lose. But I'm gonna lean to Crutchmer to look back at his last fight and realize that he's committing too much to the striking and forgetting what got him to the dance or what his true background is. I mean, maybe at one day he'll be a top-notch striker as far as MMA, but probably never a top-notch striker as far as pure striking. Like, I would probably bet a pretty penny that he'll never be a top-notch pure striker as far as an actual pure like a kickboxing. Definitely not. Oh yeah, definitely not boxing. He's not gonna be no standout in any of those disciplines. Where he was a standout was in wrestling, and that's where he just stick to for the most part, and let the other thing be icing and not try to fight 14 minutes and 30 seconds or 14 minutes and 55 seconds of a 3-round fight of a 15-minute fight striking, because your bread and butter is wrestling, and you're gonna end up losing a lot of fights trying to be a striker, and you're gonna lose that wrestling cardio, and yeah, it's just not gonna plan out well for him. So I just think this one Crutchmer is gonna come out here and mix his wrestling well, make the right decisions, mix it in well, use his wrestling sparingly to the extent, and not blow his wad, score takedowns when needed or when they present themselves, secure the control time, secure the position, secure the control time, land ground and pound, and be able to win a close, tight decision over Chokeheli. I don't think he'll go out there and just easily out-wrestle him or easily secure control and just easily lay on him. I think it's going to be a fight and he's going to be competitive, but the takedowns and control time at key points in this fight is going to lean the fight to Crutchmer. So in this one, I got Cal Crutchmer via decision. Now to our next fight we have in the women's flyweight division, Vanessa Porto versus Ilara Joanne. So Porto versus Joanne. I think Joanne is very, like, she's physically strong, younger by like a whole decade. 9-5 versus 22-9, so clearly much more experience on Porto's side. She fought both Cyborg and Nunes, which is crazy. The fact that she's a flyweight, but back then, like, you didn't really have much options, but she fought both of them, so obviously she ain't scared of nobody. But going against Joanne, I don't think Joanne's strength is all that great. Her techniques, I mean, she has solid strength, but not going to overcome a technical advantage of an experienced veteran like Porto. Striking is still raw. Her talents in general are raw. I think she just needs to flesh out her skills more, and then she can potentially be a problem in this division. But as of right now, I think Porto is the much more polished striker, a much more overall polished fighter. Going to be able to mix up on the feet, be able to time and score takedowns, and really just be able to wear down Joanne in the grappling, ground and pound, heavy top pressure, drain her through 2 rounds, in the 3rd round be able to tap her out. So in this one, I got Vanessa Porto via 3rd round submission. Now to our next fight we have in the featherweight division, Aaron Pico versus Aiden Lee. So it's an interesting matchup. Aiden Lee's like 6 feet 6'1", Pico like 5'8", 5'7". Aiden Lee is a pretty crisp striker, come from the same gym as Leon Edwards, so you kind of get the similar stuff. Definitely not Leon Edwards, but again, similar stuff, long, lanky, clean, crisp striking, decent takedown defense, and underrated grappling. So a lot of similarities to like a Leon Edwards and stuff. But one thing I will say is Pico should not be a -700 favorite. So definitely could see putting a little bit of money on Aiden Lee just because we'll kind of fade Aaron Pico on this one. Like, it's not really worth any bet than anything when he's a -700 unless this guy with just easy money, which he isn't. So I don't know why the odds are leaning so heavily against or leaning so heavily towards Pico, especially when Pico has, definitely has some huge notable setbacks. And I think every single loss has been a brutal stoppage loss for Pico. He get a little bit of steam and he gets stopped. So I would really just avoid betting on Pico at all, and maybe put a small bit of money on Aiden Lee, given those odds, because he definitely has a good shot. He's long, good jab, good crisp striking. I could definitely see him intercepting the smaller Pico with a knee when he tries to run in, either loading up on a big power punch or a big power shot, a big overhand, big hook, dropping his hands, or when he tries to duck for a takedown, run right into the knee. I could definitely see it happening. Or I could even see Aiden Lee being able to weather the storm and stay stay crisp, stay clean, and be able to pepper up Pico from a distance, use that reach, and then start to walk him down and put him out, or really just survive the first round and then just put a striking clinic on him for the other 2 rounds. But all that being said, I'm gonna lean to Pico. I feel like the Saul Rogers fight and some other fights have shown the opportunities to score takedowns. I feel like Pico's gonna be able to still gonna get tagged, probably get his nose bust open, probably catch a couple clean shots, but be able to walk through that pressure with heavy punches, mixing with volume, come behind his own jab, crowd elite space, and then score takedowns against the cage, and be able to drag Lee. And I felt it's gonna be like a decision for Pico. I don't think it's gonna stop Lee. I think it's gonna be a tactical fight from Pico to just be able to pressure him, get him against the cage, score takedowns of the cage, was gonna limit those opportunities for those stepping knees and brutal counters from Lee, or anything intercepting or any counters. Safer, smarter takedowns, drag him down, and just grind out a decision over him. Be smart and make it the case of making Lee work and not spending his own energy too much, which will eliminate or at least do a good deal to prevent a case of where Pico is exhausted going through later rounds and becoming easy pickings, but instead to be a case of where he'll make Lee be the one that has to make something happen in this fight. I don't see Pico like fighting a boring fight, but I do see him fighting a tactical fight, which to some people could be boring, but I think he's going to do what needs to be done to get his hand raised in this one, and I think that's what's going to be the case. So in this one, I have Aaron Pico via decision. Now to our co-main event, we have the catchweight bout at 175, Paul Daley versus Jason Jackson. And how I see this one right here is Paul Daley has really not lost a striking matchup in MMA. He has well over 50 fights. MMA has not lost a striking matchup. Well, only 2 to Nick Diaz, and Douglas Lima, and both of those guys are beasts. Only lost to those people. Outside that, has not lost a striking match. But again, the guy's 38 now, 37, 38. Jason Jackson like 31, 32, so like roughly in his prime. And riding a good bit of steam. Will have a height advantage and a reach advantage, but only like a 1.5 reach advantage. Daley got 76-inch reach versus a 77.5-inch reach for Jason Jackson. Jason Jackson is like 6'1". Paul Daley is about 5'8". So 4 to 5-inch height advantage and only a 1.5 reach advantage. And a 6-year youth advantage going against Paul Daley. And I would say Jason Jackson might have a wrestling advantage, but Paul Daley's wrestling is surprisingly underrated at times. I think he scored a takedown against Lorenz Larkin at one point. But yeah, surprisingly underrated takedown. He also might have even scored a takedown against Willie at one point. But also, yeah, he did score a couple takedowns against Michael Venom. Looked pretty good in the wrestling there. But when he does go against a better wrestler, his wrestling defense does not look the best. But yeah, I don't think wrestling's gonna be too big a factor in here. Well, matter of fact, I think it is gonna be a big factor. I think Jason Jackson's gonna be the mix in there well. He hasn't really been using his wrestling too much in these past couple fights, or on this, this recent stint where he's been really coming along as a fighter. He certainly has been using his grappling and defense to a great extent against Ed Roof. Looked pretty good defensively in wrestling against Neiman Gracie. Neiman Gracie had him all types of bad positions. True world class black belt and BJJ. Plenty of good positions, but could not do nothing with him in a lot of these positions. Could not really hold him down. So that just shows, even though it wasn't a case of him just going out there and just really putting these wrestling clinics on or grappling clinics against people, it shows that the skill is there. So I'm gonna lean to him still to have get the advantage in the grappling in this one. Definitely the youth advantage to him. And I do say it's been a close fight. Like I said, Daley is a dangerous striker, one of the greatest strikers in MMA history. Will be looking for that left hook, looking for that overhand, looking for that right hook to the body. So he'll be definitely looking for some good shots in this one. But I feel like Jason Jackson will be able to stay composed, use his reach, stick behind the jab, and stay clean, stay composed, mixing grappling when needed to grind out a very close decision against the veteran in Paul Daley. So in this one, I got Jason Jackson via decision. Now to our main event, we have in the welterweight division, Douglas Lima versus Yaroslav Amosov for the undisputed welterweight title. So with this one, I was actually going to lean to Yaroslav Amosov at first. So you already know what my prediction is. I'm leaning to Lima in this one. But yeah, I was going to lean to Amosov at first because I feel like Lima definitely lost something in the fight against Masasi. Not the fact that like he came into the fight and was less of a fighter or was this or that. I just think the fact that Masasi, even though Lima might have had one or two instances of landing something successful or having a little bit of success in that fight, for the most part, Masasi just schooled him, just had him hugging the cage and was just jabbing him at will and really almost had him froze like a deer in headlights the whole fight through 5 rounds. And Lima wasn't able to get off with anything really at all in that fight. So Yaroslav Amosov coming in here, he gonna see like blood in the water and see a fighter who just coming off a loss. Even though it's not this weight class, a loss is a loss. So he's coming back down to welterweight, a loser, coming off a loss, riding a loss. And Amosov coming here undefeated is going to be motivated by that. Like I said, blood in the water. And they're going to look to take advantage of that. But I was going to lean to him. I feel like he had the well-rounded skills to do it. Had the wrestling caliber to mix the wrestling in and have good success. Lima certainly has improved a lot in his wrestling defense. But especially come off that loss, Amosov been hungry and seeing that blood in the water would be able to take advantage of that. And not only just being a wrestler, but also having a solid striking as well. Would have been able to do something to a similar degree that Masasi did. And even before that, I was thinking his striking and boxing definitely nowhere near where Masasi is. And now looking at his tape, his striking is nowhere near where Masasi is, nowhere near where Michael Venom Page is. And I would even think Roy McDonald's a better striker. And you could probably say you're wrong or you don't know what you're talking about, which is fair. But we're looking at Amosov, still a solid striker, but definitely see a lot of flaws. Even at one point, Eric Silva was picking apart like early in that first round. I think he even got like a judo throw at one point in that fight against Amosov. Seemed to have a little, not really any issues with Rickles or anything, but I feel like if that was a fight where he should have just ran right through Rickles, but didn't. And in the last fight, definitely I saw a fatigue setting. Yes, he was fighting a wrestler and undefeated wrestler who was definitely winning that wrestling battle against him for the most part. But also, when he got tired, his chin started to dip. Started to get caught by uppercuts repeatedly. Does fight a little bit square at times. Crosses his feet a good deal. And yes, but to the point with this one, I feel like Douglas Lima, just really looking back at Amosov, I feel like Douglas Lima has already kind of fought a fighter like Amosov. Whether not directly, not the same exact package fighter. He fought Andrei Koreskov, who was a greater finisher. Was a better striker, in my opinion, Andrei Koreskov was. Amosov, I would say, definitely a better wrestler than Koreskov. But striking-wise, I feel like Koreskov is a better striker. I feel like Roy McDonald's a better striker. I feel like Koreskov mixes it together a little bit better than Amosov. But, yeah. Going this one, I feel like Douglas Lima will be able to really address the wrestling of Amosov. Doing a feet, I feel like the uppercut will be there. I feel like the overhand will be there. He also got bring it back. He got dropped. I'm getting the wrestler's name, but yeah, he got dropped by overhand. I think that was like his debut in Bellator, but yeah, Gerald Harris. But yeah, he got dropped by Gerald Harris. Almost finished in that fight. So really with this one, I think again, Lima will be able to address the wrestling for the most part. Amosov will be able to have success in the area, but Lima will be able to scramble, get back to his feet, stuff probably definitely more than half the takedowns. Chew up his leg, especially with how much he crosses his leg. Be able to find that jab down the middle. I think Lima has the better jab, the better pop behind his punches, the better finishing instinct, the better reflexes. Better dig to the body. Have Amosov on the back foot as he often is. That's another thing. I feel like Amosov, his best chance to beat Lima is to kind of do a similar blueprint to what Masasi did and even maybe Andrei Koreskov did the first and most of the second fight, even though he lost the second fight. But put Lima on the back foot. keep him behind the jab, and then when he tried to respond, land good counter, so it frees up his offense, and keep him on the back foot, and just put a volume, in either volume or just keep a counter present like that. If he throws something, you're gonna have an answer for it. Then mix and takedown, that would be the path to victory. But a lot of times, while like Amosov, he's mostly on the back foot against a lot of fighters. Even against Rickles, a fighter he should just ran right through, walked him down, and put him out. Was on the back foot in that fight. So a fighter that typically fights on the back foot in Amosov. So that's not really going with the path to victory that I see for him if he is to win. So going to be on the back foot. Lima has a better jab, so especially going backwards, Lima's jab will be the one landing with more effect, and will have precedent over Amosov's jab. Then going backwards, Lima will be able to, with Amosov going backward, Lima will be able to get off his offense more and follow behind that jab with overhands, body shots, combos, and then probably end it off with a couple of leg kicks at times. It only takes a couple of leg kicks from Lima before it starts paying dividends. Really could be just be one. And I think it's going to play dividends early on in the fight. Jabs, pushing Amosov's head back, then allowing Lima to follow up with combinations behind, and sometimes empty combinations off with leg kicks. And probably within that first round, Amosov's going to be limping a bit. And then Lima just starts to pressure him, walk him down over the course of the fight, stuff some takedowns, and just wear on him, get Amosov to start to wear down, especially we saw him even tired in the three-round fight. Even though that was a heavy wrestling fight, I think Lima's pressure, his boxing, the damage he's dealing is going to cause a similar effect to Amosov and cause him to start laboring, start to dip his head, bad habit, leave him open for that uppercut. I think Lima finds the uppercut in the third round, catches him, times him, rocks him, and then finishes him off. Rocks him, drops him, then finishes off with ground and pound in that third round. So in this one, I got Douglas Lima via third round TKO. And that concludes my fight predictions for some of the key fights for Bellator 260, Lima versus Amosov. And as always, thanks for watching.